All right, our goal for this first section is just this small little piece here called Stars and Elements Notes, referring to what is fusion. And you were playing around with this idea of fusion in our game last week, right? We were saying that this was a star, and within a star there's many different elements, mainly hydrogen to kick everything off. And as the star progresses over time, gravity is attracting these elements together and causing this process of fusion. We saw that happen here in the game where elements were being combined into something new, right? We started making observations of how the elements were changing as the combinations happened and what those combinations did to the energy level within a star. So we want to lock in a little bit of that info today. Again, just starting here with our first piece. So your sound is on, you're listening to the blanks being filled in, and then labeling some stuff over here on the right side. So here's what we know about fusion. It's a process that's happening specifically in stars because of all their conditions. So we want to make sure we understand what conditions are necessary and then what exactly is happening to these elements being involved in fusion. Well, this idea of fusion, like we said, our shortcut to the word fusion is combine, right? Or combining. We've got two or more elements combining under specific conditions. So again, what exactly are those conditions that work best for fusion to happen within a star? Well, stars are the best place to have it happen because of how much stuff they have, right? Stars have a lot of mass or matter, material, and that creates a lot of gravity, right? A lot of tractive forces within that star, pulling things together, creating enough pressure for them to combine, and therefore huge temperature levels as well. So stars are the perfect location for fusion because of their large amounts of gravity and therefore high levels of temperature. So how exactly does this fusion thing work? Well, we need two or more atoms, like we said, to combine. And really what's combining are the protons, right? Our investigation last week, we looked at the nuclei or the nucleus, the atom center, combining and holding all those protons. So those nuclei or the center combine, creating a really high energy output. You can kind of see at the end of this animation here, all that energy coming out of that combination. So as those two or more atoms combine, we get not only a large amount of energy out, but we get a brand new element formed. And we looked at this example again in our assignment yesterday or last week. If we have hydrogen with one proton plus another hydrogen with another single proton, it's going to create a helium atom for us, which is made up of two protons. And that's kind of what we see happening here in this animation. All these little single hydrogens bouncing around, and then they combine and end with this final helium with two of those pink protons. So fusion, perfect conditions in a star, high temperature, high gravity due to all that matter or mass within the star. And when they combine, we get this huge energy output. That was kind of like your energy points in the game. And then we're also making brand new elements, which again, you were seeing happen in the game, those different colored boxes, and of course the different names. And those elements then have more mass, right? We were seeing as they combined, those numbers went up, right? We've got beryllium-7, more mass than a helium or a hydrogen, and so on. And again, our goal was to get all the way to this iron in the star. So let's label up some of the stuff, on the right side of our notes. We want to write in where we have the starting elements. So go ahead, zoom way in on these two hydrogens. We want to label these as our starting element. It's kind of the beginning. our initial elements. We have those there first. And as those combine, we are creating something brand new, right? A brand new element. And in this case, that is helium. Now we do have this little neutron hanging out down here. This is just extra. Okay, neutron, remember, is one of those subatomic particles like a proton or an electron. This is not an element because there is no proton existing here. So just kind of a little extra guy from the combination. He'll get used elsewhere. But we've got our starting element. We've got our brand new element. We know that new element is more massive than our previous element. It's got 2 protons, where over here our hydrogen atoms, those were less mass, just with their 1 proton. And finally, I'm asking you to put a star next to the energy output. That's over here, right? Large amounts of energy coming out of the combination of these 2 elements. That whole process is known as fusion. The combination of 2 or more elements, a huge release of energy, and then something brand new and more massive has been made. So finally here, we are predicting, can fusion naturally occur on Earth? Circle and finish up your statement, what you believe right now, based on our discussion the last few minutes. So choose your yes or your no, and give a little explanation to your thoughts. Wrap this up, and then we're moving on to part